seen some amazing gameplay from some amazing players, and now we're going to take a look at the schedule to see who we will be watching play as the rest of the day continues on. Next up, we will be seeing Spain go up against Denmark, then Australia will be going up against Thailand, and remember, you're going to want to stick around for the Contenders Pacific Finals to watch Talon Esports go up against Cyclops Athlete Gaming. And remember, you too can be a part of all the awesome Overwatch action if you tweet with the hashtag OWWC2018, and you can be a part of the awesome fan polls brought to you by T-Mobile. But right now, we got our teams up on stage. We got Denmark, we got Spain, and we are going to kick it over to the casters we love and we trust, Wolf and Achilles.
So much, Mika. We are back, and we have another banger of a match for you. This one, I think, is even going to be scrappier than anything that we've seen so far. Denmark and Spain, some rougher starts here for them in their World Cup Bangkok careers, but we're going to see which one of these guys can walk away with a victory under their belt. Spain, of course, going to be looking to get one here after suffering that loss to Australia.
That's
earlier.
right. So we got to cast Spain earlier, and then you and I cast Denmark last year at the Shanghai qualifiers for 2017. So most of the players returning from the roster last year, so it's going to be a very familiar feel for the Danish fans. Take a look at Spain real quick first. They had a tough series against Australia, running a lot of tank-based compositions, and Poppy kind of finding his place on the Tracer there at the end, but of course competing with Huss on the Sombra. We'll see how he matches up against the other side of things on Denmark's squad, but this is a team that is so known for running unusual strategies, so many different tactics. We saw probably 17 different things from this team in Shanghai last year. Again, not the exact same roster, but several of the players, of course, returning here. Fisher being probably the most well-known of those, nerfed as well, the Winston player from last year. So I think we can expect a lot of depth and a lot of unique stuff out of this squad going into this four-map series. And I don't think this one's going to feel stale. We're starting on Ilios, so potentially a lot of Pharah, and maybe even as we head into Ruins, that Doomfist. I'm excited to see what they want to run.
Maybe a little bit more of Widowmaker as well on Ruins. We'll see if that's going to be coming out. We didn't have that much of it in our first series of the day. Well, our first series, you and I mean, not of everything here. But Widowmaker maybe going to be a bit more prevalent on that, and possibly on Wells at the same time. So we'll see what's going to happen. Well, will be our first round of Ilios to kick things off. And we'll figure out who will be taking a nice start in this map, in this series. Try to lock down that win.
Yep. So there's a lot of different ways you can run Lighthouse, you know, in terms of the control of the point itself, where you get into it. But we're heading to Well first, and we'll see Lucios on both sides. You know, in Korea, we love to see the Lucios stick around, but doesn't usually happen in the rest of the world. We have speed boost and then a swap. And so far, the only really unique thing here is going to be Shax on this Soldier. It's not the first time he's run it tonight. Very sustainable DPS, tough to kill. You've got your biofield, and that's going to be tough. Poppy Fresh going to have a hard time actually finishing him off.
Well, we'll see. The biofield's going to be coming down to keep everybody else alive. Harry Hook falling down to about half HP. Docs are already both supports getting a lot of damage. It's going to be Networks falling first. That kill coming through here for his squad, building up 40-50 now percent for that Tac Pfizer. Very nicely played. Denmark going to easily grab this first cap here on Well.
And what's really cool about the Soldier 76 is it offers you not only consistent damage, and Soldier's damage fall off was recently buffed, you know, or decreased, whichever way you want to call it. So he does a lot more consistent damage now. But in a competition like this, he gives you that extra healing. It also builds his Tac Visor. So it can snowball out of control for the team that is winning the fights with the Soldiers. He's about to have that Visor just 30% away. And it's tough for Poppy to actually close that distance because of the pocketing. I mean, look at this D.Va blocking everything that's coming at Shax here.
Yeah, just kite around the side here already. Networks down below half HP and halfway to that primal range, which you would very much like to have to try to get this cap coming through. Shax nearly with the Tac Visor online. We'll now have it. A couple extra bullets flying in. Denmark's still going to be in control. The dive comes through. Shaxx getting jumped on. Biofield coming down. Transcendence out from Harry Hook, trying to keep everybody else topped up. So far, Spain not suffering any losses. Now the Tag Visor will come through. However, jump away, pulse bomb will take down Kelix. Good opening frag here for Spain as they try to get the flip.
Yeah.
So Denmark having to kite back, try to get themselves alive. Get the sound barrier out. Spain really hard committing and afforded victory to try to get the flip in. So far, it's still going to be eluding them. Self-destruct coming down. Makes it back into the mech, does Danny. And that is going to be Nerf picking up the kill here on the Promas now, as Denmark still maintains control despite the fact that Spain is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah, and it's looking really rough for Spain here now. They don't have any other tools left. Linepro is going to go down here. And they've only realistically got one more push in them, but they don't have any ultimates to utilize. Shaxx used his visor to force the Tracer to recall away. Still got the kill onto Kelix, but everyone else to back off. He's nearly at another one.
Yeah.
He's holding the 71% here. They have a sound barrier, and Poppy's going to switch over to McCree for a little bit more burst damage to help perhaps deal with Nerfed and Fisher in the front lines. But I mean, this is going to be very difficult to pull off. They have no real tools.
They're pushing in. The Tag Visor are going to be online shortly here. Sound barrier in from Kelix. Keeping everybody alive, especially Dink, allowing him to get closer and closer to that Transcendence. 1 more percent for that. Shaxx going to find a kill. It's not out. Promas rather out of that mech, and Linepro goes down. Nerf just stomping him out. Now the baby going to be finished off. Shaxx just sitting on the other side of the well, spamming out. Gets that nice little shot there on the dock. Find some revenge. This thing does get knocked off the map, but Networks is going to be going down. Denmark taking this one 100-0 to kick things off on well.
Just really good execution of this Soldier 76 base composition. Not only he protect, but he attack, as they say. You know, he can heal his squad up in those choke points with the biotic fields, but he also is doing really consistent damage with his accuracy. He's a very accurate player. Has hit big Helix rockets to get those chasing kills, and that last Tag Visor used was well timed. He knew that Promas, of course, was going to be knocked out of the mech, and then he could just clean up the kills afterwards. So just really good usage of defense matrix to protect him. The Winston barriers from Nerfed. Also, all of everything that Denmark had in their wheelhouse, they used to make sure that he was going to be able to do maximum damage. Now we're heading over to Ruin, so as you mentioned, a lot more Widow here. Spain going to avoid it completely, though. They're going to try to counter it with more dive-based Tracer and Winston.
Yep. Well, if you were looking at the top left of your screen, you would have seen that Promas already took a shot down to half HP, so they're perfectly aware that this Widowmaker is in the mix, but whether or not they can deal with it is yet to be seen. Shaxx wanting a hit there. Trade on the Zenyatta's. His Dink also goes down. Tracer killing Zenyatta. What a perfect duo. Maybe a more iconic one. Fisher jumping up onto the top side here, trying to keep himself alive, trying to angle in onto Doc. Not going to be able to find it. Kelix will be taken down, but they're going to go ahead and find the Lucio. Finishing him off. Point unlocked. No one in onto it here at the moment as Nerf just tries to waddle his way over onto that Mega Pack. Picks it up, rejoins here onto the point with Danny. Going to help keep him in the mech. It's not going to work out, but they're still looking quite good. They're postured forward. Linepro dangerously low here. Might be going down. Gubastomp comes in with the help of Shaxx. They will be able to finish him off.
I think it's very important to note that Denmark, you know, they could have had the flip earlier had Spain not actually delayed so well. Doc actually should be able to escape here as well, so just building up a lot more ult charge as well as preventing that stagger, but things could have been a lot worse. Promas in particular did a lot of good delay there, so Denmark actually down on ultimates overall here, so Spain has a really good chance to, once they build those up, come in here and get a fast flip, faster than, you know, Denmark would like. Pulse Bomb may be the way to open this up. They know there's no Primal on the other side.
Yeah, if they can lock that one down on the Nerf. Get rid of that. Winston, that would be huge. Harry Hook actually going to be sniping out that Widowmaker. Kelix goes in, gets the res off, dashes to the side, trying to stay alive, but they manage to get the shots in the end. Networks goes ahead, finishes them off. Pulse Bomb going to be going down, not going to be finding any pickoffs here, but already a great start as both supports are gone from the side of Denmark. Spain in on the point, looking to the flip. Not going to have it yet, but Denmark's still only at about 45%. So a flip here will still give Spain a very nice chance in finding success in tying this up, forcing us on the Lighthouse. Doc goes forward, right-click kill in on the Nerf. Then it's going to be popped out of the back of Spain. Seems like just a matter of time for them to be able to put this into their favor.
Yeah, and they hold the rally afterwards, especially Harry Hook having that armor plus shields. You know, I mentioned it earlier in the previous series, it's so impactful. Love the Shaxx delay here just to get a few more percentage base, but this fight is won for Spain. And Denmark just needs to make sure they regroup quickly so they can get the fastest flip possible. That's the ideal situation for them. But again, Spain not only holding the ult advantage, but that additional rally armor means that it's going to be tougher for Denmark. In fact, they're going to swap Shaxx over to Pharah so we can have a better overview of the point and can do a little bit of chunk damage to look for that burst once he has his ultimate to get through those shields. Very easy way to, you know, remove all of that armor.
Fisher taking some shots here, gets that nice one. In on the network, takes him low. Sound barrier not going to be out. Must going to be investing that self-destruct. Doesn't find any kills for it. Smashing back on the same. Primal Rage now going to be coming out from networks as he goes forward. Trying to maintain control over this point here for Spain. Fresh, another pulse bomb ready to go. Use it because Nerf is already taken out. Danny's out of the back yet again. So a great fight here for Spain. As they maintain control and just hold on to the scarce ultimates that they have here in the war chest. Some zap coming down. Nerf is just going to fall.
The lack of support ultimates could be an issue for Denmark here if their next fight isn't a big one. Because if they could take at least a trade in this next fight, build support ultimates, support survive, then they'll have a great opportunity to set up a good fight next. But if this fight doesn't go their way, things are just going to continue to further snowball away from Denmark. Spain with the only advantage still.
A little ways away from that Primal Rage. Network's going to be trying to build it up as they hold this point. Fisher swapping over onto that Doomfist. No Widowmaker in the mix. See if he can get anything done. As I say that, Fresh is going to go ahead and pop the pulse bomb in onto him. It takes him straight out of the fight. Killish right now, not been able to find any angle for a red. Shax goes in for the barrage, but not going to find anything. But Danny is trying to call this one back here. As he finds two. What's the done? Both going to be going down. Big balls at the same time. It's just an all-out brawl in on the point. 88% here for Spain as they try to find this victory. Tie things up.
It's insane he's still alive.
Goes down. Helix is dead as well, and now Spain maintains control. They're looking to finish this one off.
Bobby Fresh is doing so much damage here, living through it all. Gets the Mega Pack, helps get that finishing kill there on the Danny. And Spain, total control now. How can Denmark ever hope to break through?
Leapfrog tag in there from Shax, just making sure he counted low enough to force out the OT to extend that one, but he does die. Transcendence going to be used by Ding as they try to get in on the point. Pushing down with the Lucio. Dangerously low, will get finished off by line throw. Jax, desperate swap over onto the Hammond to try to rejoin. The Meteor Strike not going to find anything. And Bobby Fresh is still wreaking havoc in the back lines. This thing will go down 99 to 64%. Even if Denmark could flip this with the two remaining members that they have alive, it would still be such a massive hold that they would need to pull off in order to get the 2-0 victory here. So it seems like we're going to be going to Lighthouse.
We are going to Lighthouse indeed, Achilleos, as the flip will come through, or rather will not come through. The overtime will tick down. And Spain just controlled that using zone control with the Tracer. So every time that Denmark, when they ran out of time, they had to come in without their ultimates. They had the ult disadvantage the entirety of the time because they used their support ultimates. Earlier, like I was mentioning before, they just could not actually stay on the point and regroup as 6 because Poppy would just not die, and he was doing so much consistent damage. He was operating around the Mega Pack, which would not be denied by anyone else because they were streaming in one by one. Because if they didn't touch the point, it's over, right? So Denmark's trying their damnedest to just get on there, but they can only do one at a time. We're going to see Denmark run Shax on the Soldier 76 here again, out of the gates here with the speed boost. That is going to work very well, not only in the choke points around the point, but on the point itself.
Also something that can be operating onto these high grounds. See where they're going to position him for now. Going to be a wraparound coming through from Spain. In the back. Zaps coming through. Howard's just burning away at them and actually finds Nerf at the same time. So nice little prize here. As he was just trying to poke out for that Primal Raid. Fisher, however, all the way back in. Line throw and Harry Hook was going to be going down. Point's going to be unlocked. No one in on it yet. Everyone fighting away from it back towards the dropships, actually. Denmark, despite losing their tank early on, will be able to kite their way over and get that first cap yet again. It's
just so sustainable with the running. You don't always need peel when you have a comp that is just adds this much healing and armor. As you can see, Fisher is healing everybody up. They've got the rally now. Gonna pop it in the fight.
Yeah, comes right back down. Jack's just taking out both of those tanks. Poppy Fresh gonna be burned down. Ding coming up to kill. Armor pack tossed in. Rally already gonna be used here from Fisher. Making sure that everybody can be sustained, and Ding can keep that armor on top of them with the Transcendence should Spain be able to apply enough pressure.
Now, I like switching over to the Reinhardt here because Reinhardt, in particular, can burst a single target with charge if used correctly. Has the ability to do it with Rally because Lion Pro already has that available. The problem is that, of course, Denmark knows about this. They put him on the high ground soldier.
Yeah, Sound Barrier's going to be out on both sides. Transcendence is also going to be held. Shack's not going to be finding too much here with the tech visors. He just tries to get through the shielding, but Nerf is there, and he's going to come up with 2. Lion Pro Network's both going to be going down. Primal Rage coming in, gets the smack off, almost goes off the side himself, but he will maintain control. He'll keep his balance, he'll stay on the ledge and stay alive. Denmark,
and they were just one step ahead. They either predicted or scouted the swap over to the Reinhardt Zarya, put Shax on the high ground. His tac visor, although it didn't get a bunch of kills, did enough consistent damage to really turn that fight around. Nerfed, all he needed was the Primal. And now, you know, they're running in with at least the Moira, so more sustainability, but it's the same issue, the high ground once again.
Yeah, and now Denmark is shifting over to their anti-ghost bomb strategy here. They have the pharmacy coming in to try to back them up. Harry Hook gonna die at the start of the fight. Nerf just gonna be spamming away. Look at that Primal Rage, gets it so rapidly here. Earthshatter comes down, Networks manages to find one there on the Fisher. Romath gets a second kill, which is gonna fall to that self-destruct. He's still so far away from that flip to come through. Self-destruct out from Danny. He's gonna be staying alive, gonna be making it back into the back, and another Primal Rage. Since another person sailing off the side of the map, Denmark looking to close this one out 100-0 to get the win on Ilio.
I mean, this is so, in the old days of Goats, Harry just tries to tag in. In the old days of Goats, you wouldn't encounter a Winston when you're running Ryan Zarya here. So it's actually something that you're not always used to as a Ryan on this map, to see the Primals coming through. That's the end of the point, as we are gonna have Denmark take Ilios. Both maps they dominated with this Soldier 76 extra healing, the Protect Shax composition. But Nerf comes up as MVP on Lighthouse with those Primals. It's just so hard to operate with Reinhardt Zarya when there's so many ways you could be knocked off by Pharah, by the Primal. You cannot deal with the Pharah in the sky. You don't have any long-range hit scan. And it just felt like, strategically, Denmark was one step ahead.
Yeah, and we're still kind of seeing the limitations here of Spain. Well, with Poppy Fresh really feeling the need to just be sticking on to the Tracer. No way to deal with that Pharah at all. We saw him try to do the McCree on Well, but it was a little bit too late for that to be that impactful of a pick. And if he didn't get the burst damage, it just wasn't really going to work out anyway. So rough start here for Spain. Denmark able to get that win. Spain were able to take the control win over Australia. So already going to be operating on a back foot here as they try to turn this series around. So down 0-1. Denmark, can they run with this? Can they charge forward and get a clean victory all the way throughout this series? Or is Spain going to continue to give them some trouble? Because you know, it was a 2-1 victory there on Ilio, so it's not like Spain rolled over and died.
I mean, I think for Spain's sake, I hope it's a closer series than the 4-0 you described that might occur, especially after their loss earlier. So I don't know where they're going to take us. You and I predicted that they would want to play Kings Row when we were talking about them earlier. Didn't have the map pick on Hybrid this time. They do. They were able to start the win in that previous series. Let's see where they're going to take us as we head into this map. Will it be more tank-oriented, or is it going to be perhaps something more dive-focused? Oh. Looks like we got our answer. Okay. Nimbani.
So dive it's going to be. Nimbani going to be coming through. Now the question is, do we see some of the cheese that you and I are used to seeing in Contenders Korea? Or are we going to be seeing something like the Torbjorn coming out on defense on point A?
Yeah, that's the question. You know, Torbjorn defense Bastion, something that we've seen a lot in the past from Denmark. I don't know if we're going to see it on this particular map of Nimbani, but yeah, I think that dive is the way Spain wants to run this. We may even see Tracer Genji. We may see the Sombra come back in for Poppy as well. Because you don't pick Nimbani thinking, okay, we're going to run Reinhardt Zarya. You don't pick Nimbani thinking necessarily you chose it for Torbjorn alone, right? Even if that's something that we've seen teams run in the past.
I don't think there's any map that you choose just because you want to run Torbjorn.
It's obviously
just the unfortunate reality of it.
It's one of the strongest maps for Torbjorn, but it's less meta nowadays. And from the start of things, the looks we see here from Spain is they want to run sort of an anti-dive, very similar to what they ran on Nimbani, or excuse me, on Temple of Anubis earlier, with the exception of the swap, no Junkrat here. Going to be putting Poppy on the Tracer, but Lion Pro will be once again on that Brigitte to stop any diving Genjis. As we're having a Lucio party here.
Everyone just hanging out, you know.
Love Diva.
I like to think that they don't know that they're on camera right now, and they just what they do normally.
Well, we are all on the VIP list for this party. You at home in the chat, you're invited. All right, well, we're going to see. It looks like dive here with the Sombra Genji. Try to counter this.
Charge forward, going to be coming through. See, keep our eyes on Fisher.
Remember, one of the most important things for this is for the Sombra.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, well, they're going to swap. I was going to say for the Sombra to find where Harry Hook is, which was an issue versus Australia earlier.
Oh.
Okay. That happened. Very impressive stuff here.
All right. But rockets come down. Shax's already found one kill. Forward. And an instant swap coming through. Fresh going to be swapping over onto the Sombra. Now it's coming down. Hitting Promas's mech. To about half HP. Dive down into the bottom. Life Rope so dangerously low, but he cannot finish him off. We'll get top back up, but it's going to be Denmark in onto the point. The second tick already coming through. Spain could go this last second contest, and they will do so with it even leading the charge, but already falling low. The Mexican pop. Networks goes into the back. He just gets burned lower and lower. Armor pack helps keep him sustained for a little bit. Chase into the air here from Nerf. Winston v. Winston action, but he's actually going to be going down. Nerf gets taken out by Harry. Hook and Networks follows up with a kill on the Denny.
And Bobby actually almost has an EMP.
Dax trying to bring this back. Up down the barrage. Gets the 21 there on the Vamas. Everybody else just turning over, killing that bar, but caps.
Oh no, well, you know, that was, I think probably Bobby was low earlier, so you could have made the argument, okay, well, he was trying to go get a health pack, but I think he was healed up when that happened. That was definitely a bit of a step off the point after a one-team fight.
Yeah.
Maybe a term for that, but it eludes me at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call that. We should invent a name for it.
Yeah, something like a D11 or something, but Spain holds a lot of ultimates here that they would have wished to contest with in that last fight. They can at least control the cart with them now.
Fisher going in. Has that Meteor Strike ready. Gets the punch. Not going to have the execution. Translocation comes out. Seismic Slam over to the side. Looking for the finish. Puts it on the rocket punch. Just pretty darn tanky, so not sure if he would have gone down. But now jumping to the front here yet again for Fisher. Charging up the punch, looking for a target. Choose to cancel that one, Denny. Go ahead and throw down that self-destruct. Not going to find any picks, but he'll make it back to the mech safely enough. And Harry Hogan uses the transcendence on top of the round. Himself not really going to be getting to the alarm. Meteor Strike up into the air. Both supports going to be grouped up here, looking for an angle to drop it down. Inside it comes, and that's going to be Doc. Getting taken out. Not going to be eliminated. Now Line Pro will be joining him in the grave. On the mech, Vermont is going to be exposed, going to be dead, and this is going to be one fight for Denmark.
Yeah, we're actually really well played here by Denmark, operating around the fact that they knew that Fisher could re-engage, do massive damage, so he flanked, built shields, then continued to push himself in the fight because he had the escape of the Meteor Strike, turned the escape into a kill, where he was able to find Doc there, so just playing around the Doomfist and Doomfist kit very well. Shaq's still holding this barrage, waiting for the recontest.
Barrage coming down, a little far away, some damage. A smattering of it, but a final follow-up. Rocket will go ahead and finish off Networks. Nice little opening there as well from Fisher, getting rid of two, rejoining with the rest of the squad. Off Line Pro, which they will be able to do. So completion here onto point B. A very healthy time bank for Denmark.
And I think Shaq's may consider a swap soon off of the Pharah. He was just waiting there with the barrage because he knew they were going to try to contest. It was a very easy, ult-efficient way to prevent that tag in from Spain. He's actually going to stick with it for now, though, and Poppy is switching over to the McCree to deal with that, as you can see here, trying to knock him out of the sky. Unsuccessful thus far, but doing a decent amount of damage.
Tags him up a bit. Gets over halfway to that Deadeye. Not too shabby so far from him. We'll see how the plays are going to continue. Open things up. Now straight to the McCree, and it's going to find him. Eliminated off the bat.
Well,
Fisher canceling that rocket punch. Doesn't want to go any deeper there. Kelly's under some fire, but we'll see.
Far escape now, but the res does come through, and Fisher's going to pay for it.
Yeah, does get taken down, but Nerf comes up with two. Doc and Harry Hook both going to be falling. Networks as well. Going to be eliminated. Putzcrush finally finds his target. Shaq, the res is out for Fisher. Line Pro going to be dead, as is the McCree. Denmark just steamrolling their way through, looking for a massive time bank finish here on Nabani. Still playing forward, still has the Meteor Strike, waiting for them to group up, knows that they have to play around this card, so as soon as that Primal Rage is ready to go, look at that.
They were just ready, man. I mean, they even had Shax flip over to the Soldier 76 at the last moment there to rejoin the cart, and he was going to have free line of sight. I mean, minus the I don't want to use the official term, but the step off of the point on the defense there, mistake from Spain. They played a nice defense, but they just could not, again, deal with the Pharah. And it just seems like all the T's are being crossed, all the I's are being dotted here for Denmark in terms of composition. And they've studied Spain quite well based on the previous series against Australia, so they know what's going to work well against them. And the Winston play has really complemented everything else they're trying to do, be it trying to get finishing kills onto what Shox has hit with the Pharah, or if it's contesting with Primal Rage, preventing supports from getting out of spawn, messing with Harry Hook's position. Nerfed is kind of doing all of it, and
he's been great. I'd say so far, if I had to award an MVP for this match just off the bat, I would probably give it to Nerf, because he has been encapsulating everything that can be good about Winston. He's just been playing this one to a T, so wonderfully done by him. We'll see if he can carry it through further here on this defense.
It's just, you know, one of those moments where it's a bit puzzling again that they chose this map. Spain chose this map, and doesn't suit their style. They have a great Tracer player in Popey, and I think that's one of the reasons why they've been running with this. But he will be running for now. He's showing us the Soldier 76. I don't know if that will actually make it through in the final version of this composition. But Denmark, on the other hand, wants to run, counter dive. No Brigitte, however, so they are a little bit vulnerable to Genji, but Spain has not been showing Genji, so you know that you don't need it.
And if they stick with this one, so we're actually going to be seeing a bit of a role reversal. It's going to be Poppy Fresh going for the Soldier 76. Surprisingly, Shaq's not doing so on defense on Nimbani, which was one of the most prevalent Soldier 76 maps while he was very much in the meta.
Absolutely.
So a bit of an odd swap that we're going to be seeing coming through. Next shows himself for a moment, a couple shots coming down.
He waits for a line pro because he doesn't want to get stunned by a Brigitte. They know now there's no Brigitte, but at the moment he did not.
Also no mech. Moss has been taken out of that one. Nerf falling dangerously low. Good healed back up. Fisher hovering around, looking for an opportunity. It's going to be at 30% at the moment. Now Nerf is going to be going down. Thing as well had been eliminated. Kelix all on his lonesome in the hallway. Trying to kite out of there as a Lucio picks up the health pack, keeps himself alive, and now the tank line from Spain is going to be eliminated. Still in on the point, building up to that first tick. But Denmark does give them a window of opportunity to get back in here and get this contest going through.
Yeah, Kelix is buying a ton of time, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it anymore. Fisher pokes in.
Drops down into the back. Kelix as well going to be rejoining here, and Harry Hook is going to get picked off. Fisher finding that kill. Now Poppy Fresh also going to be going down. So it seems like Denmark will be able to regain control over the point here from now. Shaq has a pulse bomb, doesn't want to have to use it to get the stagger, and he will not have to use it. Networks will just fall.
There's so many iconic Lucio players for staggers across the world. You know, people think of Toby back in the old days, Jexay if you watch Contenders Korea, but Kelix is just one of those players that I think goes under the radar, but his delays are phenomenal, and he single-handedly bought enough time for the respawns to come through there on that Lucio. It's a very tough skill to actually manage. Just putting that back in.
Pulse bomb into the back. Shaq finds that initial pickoff there. Line Pro going to be going down, delaying that rally even further. Only at 61%. And that armor is certainly something that Spain could utilize to try to get this cap on A. They have the 2 ticks, so they have a great starting point, but they have to get the finish. They have to go to the distance because Denmark get 336 at the time.
This could ruin everything.
Oh boy.
They don't know yet, and he's not going to do it until there's
everyone right in the room. Instantly, Harry Hook going to go down. The rest of the team collapsing forward. It is just going to
be an
absolute slaughter. Denmark stomp them out. They buy that much more time.
It's a pretty common approach for Soldier 76 comps because you have to get him on the high ground attack visor. So Fisher knows this. He waits, scouts it out, and then when they're in that choke point trying to force Popey onto the high ground, there's just no way to avoid an EMP. When you don't know it's coming, you are just going to get hit by it. Harry Hook didn't have a Transcendence anyways, but still, it's just, it feels bad. Now he's again going to just gain all the info, looking for the Soldier.
Yep. They're moving up the center this time around. Fisher's still going to be behind them, gets the hack off there. The Soldier 76 this time not going to be finding as much of a follow-up. Harry Hook will go ahead, use that Transcendence, and Digga's going to be taken down now. The attack visor out, but it's met with that scout barrier. But Harry Hook pieces here, gets rid of Shaq. But now no Tracer attack visor gets rid of Nerf. This is the big opening that Spain has been looking for to get this cap. And I don't think Denmark is going to be as effective at delaying this time around. Kelix going to be eliminated. That should be the cap here. On to A for them. The time bank not going to be as strong.
Yeah, a little bit trigger happy was Denmark there. Jumping into the back line, trying to kill the Soldier after the attempted hack into that follow-up dive, but Denmark came in, didn't get those kills, and then Spain reacted perfectly by just popping the attack visor right afterwards so you can catch everyone who's trying to then disengage. So really well played. Networks again trying to flank and hide. And catch the supports if the dive comes through from Denmark because they've been playing very aggressively. You know, if you do dive in, then that allows Networks to come in and get the Ana, get the Lucio.
Shaq with the pulse, pushing in around the side, tosses that one out, finds the stick, and that's going to be Line Pro gone again. Finding the hits there, finding the ults in onto that Brigitte.
And then
Shaq's going to be coming down. Well, that's actually fights Fisher. That's a happy little accident.
They had to keep up for that pulse too, so it could be really impressive stuff here coordination-wise.
Force into the back, has that Rebel Rage ready to go, pops it before he goes down. A ton of damage here as he plays up into the front. The cart is barely inching forward with 2:20 remaining on the clock. From the self-destruct out from Danny, looking for a pickoff. He's not going to find it, but Nerf and Shaq will certainly find some kills of their own. Networks and Doc both going to be going down. Puppey going to be under a lot of pressure here. The stomp from Nerf will take him down. Denmark, they lose a couple members, but they trade up and they get control over the card.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. He lost the attack visor. He's going to stick with the soldier, though. Oh, okay. As I say that, he switches to Tracer, because I was going to be a little bit critical of what Soldier is able to accomplish on the low ground here against a team that's running heavy dive but has an ult advantage. You're just never really going to get into position to do the damage you want to do. Tracer's much more mobile.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Lucio trying to hide from this EMP, but he doesn't know where he is.
Tosses that one down. Area Hook, I believe, got caught by that. Stays alive, gets a little bit of healing coming through, but Jackson's there for the follow-up, and they manage to take him down, as they do against Networks as well. And Denmark executing wonderfully off the back of Fisher's EMP. They get the kills, they get some staggers, and Denmark maintains control. And
Spain has an ult deficit, so even though Harry avoided that, EMP, at least it appeared that way, but it's not like he had a sound barrier to use with it. But if he lives and helps the team live longer, then he has a sound barrier for the next fight. They're just trying to trade up in ultimates, but it's so difficult. Denmark's being so ult efficient right now. Dirk should be able to primal, but he does get taken out.
And Shax this time not going to be finding the stick, and does not get that primal off, as you say. He'll get taken down. Shax under some fire, and Keller's going to die. Doesn't want to use the sound barrier. They're already suffering a couple losses, so Denmark will be surrendering some ground, but they know that they have enough time to get back and test this card before we make it to be.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Is it's a slight delay, and Nerfed, I think, held the primal because he would rather use it for contention of point B than trying to fight far away, potentially lose the fight after his teammates were falling, and then give up this point for free. Fighting over the point itself is so much easier to do.
Oh, looking for that. Almost had him in midair, but Kelly will be able to stay alive. Pops the sound barrier, catching almost everybody on the squad here. Jack starts playing forward with the Doom Fist. Already at 25%. Lunch comes in, taking network slow. He'll get finished off by Fisher. Jack's going to be traded back. Jumping in. Crashes down, looking for a kill on the dock, but he is just going to get swept. Self-destruct, however, keeps him safe. They have the zone back. No one can get on top of the Winston, so they cannot get the punish. But now Ding will be falling. He never goes forward again. Does not have that primal range, and he is going to get eliminated. Harry Hook coming up with the final shot. OT going to be kicking in 3 meters away. Denmark. Can they hold this off? Kellix is going to be going down, so looks unlikely. Looks like we will have an extension of Nimbani here as Spain gets that completion. But even if they finish, their time bank is going to be minuscule compared to Denmark.
Oh, certainly true, but they've got to finish it. Popey showcasing a great Tracer yet again. He's going to look for, just consistent damage here on the front line, but if Spain dives through, he always has the potential to grab Kellix, which he's been looking for so many times with these pulse bombs. Hitting the Lucio on the back is huge.
Oh, Fisher, straight up into the front. They dive forward. They manage to find Harry Hook. Now the hack down on the dock is making sure that Ana cannot do anything. Spray him down. They'll get the kills.
Huge staggers.
Wipe coming through here on to Team Spain. Denmark gained control over the cart. There's 50 seconds remaining. One final shot, really. We would have to say for Team Spain, and Networks just goes down.
Yeah, that's going to be another big stagger here. I feel like Spain is so reliant on what Popey is able to do, but the bigger picture here is Fisher is setting up nice engages with EMPs. Nerf is holding on to these primals, and no one can deal with Shax right now with this comp. Again, on this Pharah, no one can knock him out of the sky. That's an issue. They don't have the proper counter here because they're so reliant on this Tracer.
Spot him out.
As you can see here, he's taking almost no damage in these moments.
No one can really hit him. The smattering is all put up by the D.Va. He'll go ahead and drop Cat down. Are you finding any hits? That looks in the back of the Primal Rage. Up, managed to find one onto Ding. 10 seconds just about left on the clock here. Primal Rage is going to be expiring here for both of these Winstons rather soon. Self-destruct, however, from Bombas. Opens things up. Finds a pick onto Nerf, and now Danny's going to be down to the mech. He has his own self-destruct, but I think he's going to be saving it for one final fight. Good kills coming in. This is going to allow for Spain to gain some ground, but again, they have to go the distance. They have to get completion, and then it's still 3:36 for Denmark.
Oh yeah, it's not ideal, but they need to get this completion. Fisher does not yet have an EMP. They're going to go for one more hard re-engage to protect Nerf to lead.
We're going to have it soon. Winston's going for it. Works finding one. Sting goes down, gets another one. Shax will fall. He's opening things up. He wants to win so badly. A triple kill going over to Network and shutting them down. They're still playing up forward. Fisher going to be eliminated. The EMP not going to be doing anything for them. And it looks like they will be able to get this full push going through.
They will get completion. It's a long, long defense required now. And, really well played coordination there with what the tools that they had, the Nano, used at the right moment to actually allow him to get in there and kill Shax on the Pharah. Networks was able to get that basically triple kill there in conjunction with the Ana, knowing that he could control that zone, the slow respawns coming through. And had Fisher been able to get that EMP 10% faster, maybe we're watching a totally different game. Maybe the Winston is unable to get that nano boost, and we are going to a 2-0 for Denmark. But they still have one more chance. Spain has this one last potential defense here to bring it back, but it's not going to be easy, as you mentioned. And it's a map where on A, I think they've had their toughest time. It's been on the streets phase where they're finding success with their almost chaotic, aggressive backline attempts to kill with Tracer. They're looking for Calyx every time. Lime Pro also getting some flank kills as, just on the side there. He's able to sneak around, build up those rallies very quickly. He's doing a lot of consistent damage. It's a very scrappy style, Denmark will have 3 minutes and 36 seconds to close this one out. Don't think that we're going to see the Symmetra would have been cool, but it's going to be your Sombra Genji dive.
Yep, it's going back to what we saw on the push. They did swap away. See how this is going to be handled. It is Shax on the Sombra instead of Fisher.
I'm out of here.
Jumps his way back. Swap's going to be coming down, and it's back over to the old faithful Pharah coming in.
Yeah, they see just no hit scan, so why not just try to straight up counter this? They're going to bring the Doom Fist in for some extra damage. And it's going to make it much easier to break through the Brigitte this way. And it's so far hidden, in fact, for Spain. They don't know about it yet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is far enough forward to scout that one out. Shax coming around the top, getting some rockets in, Line Pro falling low. He healed back up. Put him up, making sure that Brigitte is going to be in the mix this entire time. Shax takes a couple shots. Way back, poking around this corner. Spain has to stay in onto the point. One tick is all that Denmark needs to go ahead, move up 2-0 in this series, make it match point. Try to close out a win over Spain. Fisher poking out as well. Danny's going to be knocked out of the mech and eliminated. Helping them just a little bit. Not much gained. And you didn't really get close to that tick yet.
You really just have to respect how conservative Denmark is with these team fights. Say, well, we still have 2 minutes plus. Let's back off. We already have a rocket barrage. We have a nano boost. We are trading up in ultimates. All we need is one fight to get a tick, so let's not force it.
And now they have the barrage ready to go. Let's see how they can set up for this. Shax still poking out. Lamas, they would love to get him out of that mix, so there's no defense matrix to mitigate the damage coming through from the fall. A couple hits coming down. Pushing forward. Trying to move up the high ground there. Dog under fire. Pushing forward. Trying to get the kill. Can't quite finish him off. The punch coming down from Mercy. With the stomp coming out of Networks, they do take down the Ana. Halfway to the cap, however, is Denmark over on the point. Spain still able to play forward. They'll get the kill here onto Shax, and they have so many ultimates to maintain control here. No Transcendence, but they got the rally ready to go.
Yeah, they lost their support ultimates in that fight, but they have everything else, and this is exactly what Spain is looking to do here, is just continue to hold ult advantage while defending push after push. The Meteor Strike is their next big concern, because that can lead to an opening pick, and then they'll have the Primal for the longer fight. So this is the most difficult hold. If Spain go this one, they can tie this map up.
What they're looking to do. Rocket Punch going to be channeled. Cancel it. Actually jump short. Seismic Slam coming back in. Look for that. Love that Primal Rain. Meteor Strike coming through. Making his way over. Looking for the support. He's going to be dropping in. Doc already going to be knocked down to half HP. The Rocket Punch will go ahead and finish him up. But look at the losses on the side of Denmark. 3 members going to be dead. Now 4. They are struggling time and time again on the approach. Desperate times, desperate measures. Shax is going back to the soldier.
Yeah, fairly disjointed attack there. I mean, we were watching Fisher's perspective, right? But he tried to come in and get that blow-up kill, but everything else basically had already been destroyed before that. The rest of his teammates, everything they were trying to set with the follow-up didn't work. And now they're just trying to stagger him.
If they get that break onto Danny's back, that would have been huge, but they can't quite do it.
There's always a chance with Goats. They're going to swap over to Goats. This could work. I mean, sometimes you just get that lucky charge kill and everything works out in your favor. Self-restore, triangle.
Now they're ready for it. Charge for it coming down. Hasn't tossed it yet. It's not going to find anything to get sunny here on the Brahmas. Take the mech low. He'll be able to pop him out. He's going to force that self-destruct. Pulse Pump comes out from Pump for the Fisher. So far it's going to be an exchange on the Brigittes. He'll make the match in the back here.
They need to get this fight now.
Harry Hook's going to keep everybody alive. Line Pro's going to be swapping over onto the Hammer. They're trying to rejoin. Construct up from Danny. Not going to be funny. And he picks the bubbles there. Now Shax is going to be dead. The mech is already getting weakened. The Pulse Pistol's coming out from Buckstretch. He's working him low. That's going to be the ride going down. Line Pro finds a double with the pile driver. Calyx is going to be dead. It's just Fisher alive. He forces out the recall, and I think Spain have done it. Halfway is all that Denmark are going to get here on this first tick. Fisher will go down, and Spain will be able to pull this hold, you would think, but they keep tagging in one after the other. That's about how they're going to die as well. As soon as they arrive, everybody from Spain, his laser sights onto them, burns them down, and they will hold them off. 3:36 was the starting time bank from Denmark, and they can't get a single tick.
They cannot do it, and it's been, honestly, we've seen a few crazy miracles, I think, mini miracles, if you will, in this qualifier stage. Already we're just on day 1 and our 4th series, but we haven't quite seen something this great yet. And we saw Spain just simply run the right composition, play patiently, trade up on ultimates. They knew the toughest fight to take was going to be the one with the Doomfist coming in, trying to get that kill. They actually avoided Fisher, were able to get the fight without him, basically making a 6v5 fight. And then when he did Meteor Strike to get the kill onto Doc, it was too late, it didn't matter. They took the fight with the Transcendence that Harry Hook built right before that, and when they were able to have that extra healing, that's the one time you can out-sustain a Goat's comp, right, which when you have Transcendence. They got those kills in that one moment, knowing their opponent didn't have the ults to work with because they had just swapped. So really nice hold by Spain, very impressive stuff.
Yeah, really, really wonderful by them to go ahead and tie up that Numbani, make sure that they don't go down 2-0, keep the hopes alive. And now that's going to be a massive momentum swing for them. We'll see if Denmark is going to be able to bounce back after not being able to get a tick in 3.5 minutes. But let's go ahead, throw over to the floor where we have an interview, I believe, with Doc.
We have Dak here from Team Spain. Denmark is really fighting tooth and nail here. What do you think that Team Spain is going to have to do to secure this series for you guys?
We have to keep playing the way we just played. I think the first set against Australia, we were like a little bit too antsy. A lot of players got like nervous. Obviously, we have 2 players with like not a lot of experience. So I think if we keep our composure and we keep playing our game and we keep playing aggressive like we have, I think we have a big shot at like defeating them.
Absolutely, it's only up from here from you guys. And I heard from someone that you have a culinary degree, is that true?
Yeah, that is true.
So have you checked out any awesome food here in Thailand? And if so, what's your favorite Thai dish?
Yeah, we had time to go to the night market and we had like some street food, some pad Thai. It was amazing.
Well, that sounds phenomenal. I really want some pad Thai right now. So thank you so much to Dak for talking to us. I know that all of Spain is cheering you on, and we're gonna go to a quick break, but there's gonna be more awesome Overwatch action right after this.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever, and by Omen by HP, the official PC of the Overwatch World Cup.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready to move into our third map. Just had a tie on Nimbani, a fantastic hold coming in from Team Spain. Really defying the odds, pulling off a miracle, but still not going to be great for the scorelines for either of these teams.
Yeah, it's one of those things where neither team really gains from this, but it's obviously better for Spain to have tied the map because then their opponent gains and they lose. So yeah, but it's not good for either of these teams moving forward. You want to have the most maps possible in terms of differential, so the tide obviously does not give either team that edge. So we are going to move into our third map, though. It's going to be Assault. We'll find out what that is here. It is going to be Volskaya.
Okay.
In fact, so another new map here. So Nimbani into Volskaya, expanding the map pool in this series.
We get to change it up a little bit. No more of that Temple of Anubis nonsense. Volskaya Industries.
Yeah, well, Volskaya, definitely a lot more soldier play is possible here, I'd say, than on something like Anubis. And Widowmaker is going to be something that is usually pretty impactful on the defense of point A. But in this new meta and how Spain is playing, we may see something completely different.
Yeah. Sombra also, though, going to be pretty impactful in this map, especially when you get into point B.
Yes.
There's not really that many walls to hide around if you're in onto the point itself. So Sombra can have that much more dominance, that many more people getting hit by those EMPs. Just need to hope that you have the follow-up.
Indeed. You know, if you don't have follow-up for an EMP, then essentially you've done nothing with it. So taking a look at how point A is going to play out based on Spain starting defense, I'm guessing we're probably going to see, as you can see at the top left of your screen now in the hero lock-ins, the same style of defense we saw on Nimbani, where they're running Popey on the Tracer, and they're looking for potential backline kills onto Kelix and Ding specifically, while they have their tank line trying to stop what Denmark's doing dive-wise. But what I worry about here is that once Denmark identifies this, if their first push doesn't go so well, they could simply put shocks on the Pharah again. And Spain has had problems dealing with that with these setups. And when you're on the defender, you can't just change, whereas the attacker has the advantage in that once they see, they can swap up and then run the Pharah. So let's see if this goes well for Denmark on this first push, because maybe we'll just see that switch again.
I don't know, man. I'd be really surprised if Shaq started playing Pharah Wolf. He's never done that before. Already getting tagged up here on the Tracer, and he's going to be dead. Harry Hook knocking him out of the park. First will come down. Kelix puts him back into the fight. See if he can find an impact this time around. Fisher operating on the low ground with the Widowmaker. He's going to be looking for a head to shoot.
And he gets high ground here for free, basically. That's a big problem for Spain. You never want to allow the Widow to get up there, because then he could basically hit free pot shots. It's a big problem for Spain in terms of what's going to happen next, where Fisher just starts to do too much damage.
Oh, he's pushing forward pretty aggressively there. Takes Harry Hook low. 16 and back up to the back line. Shots on the Bomas, and that's going to be Networks going down. Follow up on the hip. Can't get the one tank. Goes ahead, follows up for the other. Maybe just finds that 2-for-1 special. Head gets attacked. Around the back, Harry Hook under some fire. Doesn't manage to stay alive here for the moment. Attacks dangerously low, and Harry Hook comes in from behind. Kicks him to the ground, but Denmark do manage to pick up that first tick.
Yeah, there are limits to what you can do as a mechanical goddess Zenyatta. You can just see the damage from Fisher. It's insane what he's capable of, what he's able to do here.
Second tick is here. Moving up very slowly here for Denmark, however, as they only have one on the point. Stanley just operates by himself. Kelix takes a little bit of damage there. Fisher as well. All comes down. They manage to pull out. Number Mouse is going to be knocked out of the back. Doc falling off the start of this fight. Jackson will spawn, gets rid of Harry Hook, and now it's just going to be a slaughter here. Denmark spills forth onto the point here, taking down member after member on the side of Spain. Norwich will die. They managed to get Fisher, but that's going to be the cap coming through. A nice, strong time bank here for Denmark, but not really an opportunity to snowball into a point B cap.
Denmark just insanely well played to protect Fisher there. The sleep dart from Ding to stop Networks from knocking him off the high ground. Everything was so well done. They've got 6 minutes. As you say, no snowball possible, but Shax's going to swap over to the McCree. This is somewhat of a counter to Popey's Tracer, so he can at least flashbang the Tracer when he's trying to dive in the backline. That gets nerfed more to work with.
Okay, nice sleep dart, but not sure if we're going to have that much follow-up.
He's got the armor.
Armor pack comes in. They'll get the heal deny, but he's got the recall all the same. Start going to be tossed in by Danny, looking for a pick off, and he's going to find Jack. Nice start. Harry Hook coming in with the Transcendence, pushing forward, trying to keep the rest of the team alive. Fresh is already going to be eliminated as well. Trying to make their way in onto the point. They'll get Harry Hook, most points having been eliminated. Lime Pro, the only remaining one, goes dangerously low, uses the rally, really anybody else going to be gaining the armor from that. Into the back goes Networks. Primal range. Keep them zoned off the point. The 3 members strong in. Now they're going to contest it. They're trying to stop that coming through. Now he's going to be up looking for the hit. He's going to be able to get it. Matt gets his way out of line of sight there just in time. Not going to be getting knocked out of that neck. Networks swapping over onto the Hammond. See if he can change anything around here. Line Pro goes low, but gets him back up. Primal range comes out.
Fisher's about to have that armor for everybody. He tosses it out right now. Nerf's got the Primal, so it's almost impossible to kill him at the moment.
Fisher throws that one down. So very close to getting that first tick. Shaxx is going to knock the mess out of the mech. Zap. Look for another Primal range. It's going dangerously low here, but has the armor coming through, keeping that beta team alive so he can try to get the rematch. And it looks like he will be able to do so. That's going to be falling. That's back in. He's getting smacked around by Fisher with the Brigida. Still going to be in the mech, still being kept up. Another Deadeye going to be coming through. That's going to be Potty getting taken down. Jax finding that opening shot. Sound barrier out from Spain. Everybody sustained. The first tick does come through, but not much more than that so far for Denmark. He's have not been able to hit this point alone into himself.
Oh, he's doing a ton of damage though, and Fisher's going to start cleaning him up. This might finally be that second tick coming through as Spain has been completely wiped now. Can't get out of spawn.
Yeah, good stagger there onto Harry Hook, and maybe it's just going to be the finish. Fresh, he gets the tag in, but they stun him up. Flashbang comes down. Shaxx gets the kill, and Denmark will get the completion.
Shaxx and Fisher have been incredible throughout this series, and they wouldn't be able to do it without Nerfed leading the charge, giving them space to do damage, but also Ding's ability to shut down some of the dives to keep Fisher alive on the A capture. This is a well-oiled machine that we are watching here. Denmark looks very prepared, very prepped. They had a whole plan and execution set up clearly before this map was even selected as to how they wanted to get Fisher on that high ground. B was a very, very attempted, extended fight by Spain where they looked to try to regain control and failed over a longer period of time. Still burned through quite a bit of that time bank, but it was just Shaxx showing a clinic on how to use McCree when you've got good peel. He was able to kill several times Popey with flashbangs, headshots. Popey was not threatening him.
Yep.
So
even got him with a Deadeye.
Yeah, that's right, there at the end.
Very nicely done by him, and at the moment, as we go ahead and kick things off on the defense for Denmark, looks like we might be having that double sniper coming through.
Now what's really cool about this double sniper with the Widow and the Hanzo is you can have them on different sides, so it's difficult to dive both of them. The Widow is the one you want to usually have closer because they can grapple away, but Hanzo has massive burst. They're not running Zenyatta, so there's a little bit less burst potential onto enemy Winston, enemy D.Va in this case, but very, very powerful what Fisher can do if he's dove upon, healed properly. So he just has so much burst potential.
Well, right now, playing very far forward, both the Hanzo and the D.Va. Uncharacteristic to see the Hanzo play this far forward. The D.Va is usually just a scout out, but looks like he's looking for some opening shot. Does manage to find one little tag there.
Was able to, identify the entire comp as well with this arrow. Just back off, build 30% ult charge from this as well.
But Mount Network's already getting tagged up quite a bit. Bubble goes down as he tries to stay alive. Armor pack going to be tossed in by Line Pro. Does help keep him sustained. Just keeps playing around this high ground, already over halfway to that Dragon Strike.
Yeah, and that's the burst you're talking about. Network's taking that damage. Now it's Bromas who's getting tagged up here. Backs away, 2 highly mobile snipers.
Yep. I think he forces him off the high ground, but he goes right back in. Trying to snipe, trying to get a shot in onto that pesky Lucio. Harry Hook is going to be jetting around. Meanwhile, on the back, Shaxx is going to be finding a double kill. Networks and Harry Hook both fall. And he find one on the killer, so getting rid of that res here for Team Denmark. But with Shaxx now popping off with his Widowmaker, I don't think it matters so much.
Yeah, Ding just having some incredible heal there as well onto Networks. It's insane, what this team's coordination leads to. And as Spain right now, if you're a Spain fan, you're wondering, is this ever going to work against this double sniper? It's so well coordinated. And, when you're running the Brigida here, it's very strong against counter dive tanks, for example, if Nerf tries to dive in, but it's not great against the Hanzo. It's not great against the Widowmaker. It may just not make sense in this case to be running this Brigida further. Rally is a powerful tool, but it's not going to do much else for you, this pick.
Oh. Spots him out. They know that Infrasight's up. And you can see Fresh just keeping himself alive. Dashes out of sight, away from Shaxx. Infrasight going to expire. Dragon Strike still being held by Fisher.
Yeah, but it's going to be used as probably just a contested tool.
Okay, Nano up here on the network. He has that Primal Rage ready to go. It's going to be available now. The Sleep Dart coming through. Ding under fire, however, and Kelix is dead. Try to keep himself alive. Fresh got rid of Fisher. No Dragon Strike to be found from the side of Denmark, and this could just be the point being taken by Spain. After a little bit of a delay here. Denmark, suffering too heavy of losses. Shax is going to be going down. So just shy of 6 minutes in the time bank here for Spain as they cap A.
Doc tosses in the Nano, and that's what leads to the insta-burst onto Kelix, which meant that Shax couldn't be as free as he was before on the Widow to find that damage. Fisher still holds onto that Dragon Strike at the moment, as we are going to see Spain crash through to this next point with the ult advantage as well as armor. This is the scariest defense here for Denmark thus far, as in with all these ultimates. They're going to put Shax onto the Pharah, kind of rain hell from above.
Networks, never had to use that Primal Rage, so still is going to be holding it here. Has Harry Hook with the Transcendence as well, stack on top to try to keep him alive. Dive in onto Fisher, going to knock him off the map, but not going to be able to get the angle, but the self-destructing pops him up into the air, and the explosion takes him down.
Insane, next level here.
Oh boy, Rez comes out the alley-oop will fall that one. He will take his foot back to the fight. Nerf is going to be eliminated. Fresh finding that kill. Transcendence is here, so Harry Hook doesn't give a damn about the Dragon Strike. Just sits right in front of him. And he's going to get knocked out. This is looking like a very good push here for Spain. They can just get those ticks on the board. The first one being served up right now. Fresh holding onto that pole spot, looking for an angle, for a prime opportunity to toss it in. But Shax will drop it in the Mirage. Find one on the dock. Lamar's also going to be popped out of the mech. Now it's cleanup time here for Denmark, finally finding their footing on this defense here on B.
And that was the hardest push they were going to have to hold. It's going to take some time for Spain to have another one of those ready to go with the massive ult advantage they had. They can lead in with the rally, but Nerf can feel comfortable now to swap back to the Winston. He was ever going to run Hammond long term. It's just an emergency situation there. He's able to grab that Nano. So time bank win now for Denmark. They have the time bank advantage no matter what happens. But Spain does come through here with a pulse spawn. That could be what opens up this point for them.
And this is going to have to be another test of Denmark's medal here. Poppy Fresh going to be sprinting around the back, looking for a target.
He sees the Ana.
He's got two.
Oh, could be two.
Stick goes through. Going to be Dink going down. Taking kill there on the Fisher. Kelix, I think, is in spot, in position to get the res, and yeah, there it is. Dink's going to be put back into the mix, and Nerf is able to find the kill there on the Poppy Fresh, but now he's going to be going down, as goes Shax. The res is not in the fight. Fisher tossing out the Dragon Strike for an angle, but he will get punished. Harry Hook comes up with a kill. 3 members currently dead on the side of Denmark, as Spain pushes in. They still have a Transcendence. The sound barrier keeps everybody else alive onto the point. They're not ticking up yet. Pocket is there on the Danny, trying to keep it in the mech, and now he's going to go ahead and toss that up the struts into the height around the backside of that wall, keeping themselves safe and alive. Spain pushing forward, still keeping this one contested, but every single second that they lose is just a massive win here for Denmark. 2 more kills coming through. The resin on the Nerf goes off. Kelix stays alive through that process, and now Danny is going to be going down. Primal's up. Raj coming in, looking for the hits, but Network goes forward. Finished off the far right now. It's going to be Nerf going down again, nearly to the second tick. Here is Spain. Still have a Primal, still have a self-destructive. Absolutely everybody on the side of Spain. Second tick comes through, they'll finish off Fisher. Shax swaps over desperately to the Tracer to try to get the tag in. It's going to be Danny able to do so, but he gets moved off, and Shax cannot get there in time. Spain gets the completion.
Just a very small thing. I have to point out that I love seeing that way of dealing with a diva. They physically knocked him off the point as they DMX'd him with the whip there. So Line Pro actually guaranteed that completion there with the whip, because if you DMX someone on the point, they will still be contesting. And then, as you mentioned, Shax was running back in, and then suddenly maybe if you just DMX on the point, you lose 20, 30 more seconds. So really well played there at the end. But they lost a lot of time there, despite the great second fight that led to the first tick on point B. Now they have a less time bank, but as we've seen before from Spain, when the time banks are stacked against them, they have been able to come up big. They were able to tie Numbani just moments ago. And they will, of course, be the attackers first here with that 242. Denmark ran a phenomenal defense. Anti-dive setup with Ding protecting Shax, sleep darting what Networks was running. And this could, once again, end up being a similar situation for the attack for Spain. However, what ended up winning out for them, really both times where they were able to get those kills, is the nano boost on a network. So Dak building that quickly could be the determining factor as to how much time they end up with if they capture A.
Well, Spain should be prepared. They should expect this double sniper defense yet again from Denmark. Working decently for them.
Scouted already by the Sonic from Fischer once more. Doesn't end up with 30% of ult charge this time, as he did last time, but still scouts it out.
Still just going to be playing up onto the center high ground here. Switch forward from Bamas. Trying to disrupt this Hanzo, but he is not deterred at the moment. Still just going to be shooting away. Sonic arrow into the dome. A couple shots in. Shax's going to be looking for an angle here. Has to be constantly worried about Puppy Crush coming around the backside. Dive in from the Winston, the bubble coming down. Shax's just going to get zapped to death. The Tracer, a slight little bit of a distance there on the low ground, able to get the finishing blow, and Boss goes forward. Manages to find the pump there onto Danny, taking him out of the pack. Shax and Ding both going to be going down. Fischer able to find one with the Dragon Strike, but this is looking like a very one fight, a very capped point for the side of Spain.
Yeah, the run back is just so far away, coming back from spawn from B, so I don't think they'll be able to contest this. Nerf has only just now respawned. You can see Shax swapping over to the McCree, so they know that this is a lost A, and they're going to look for the hold here on B. But nicely done by Spain. A much, much better time for ACAP than just previously. And they were able to avoid those sleep darts. Sure, Networks did eventually get caught by one of those rogue sleep darts from Ding, but he didn't go straight into the Ana this time. He took a different approach path, took control of that high ground. So adaptation here on the fly from Spain. Shax trying to control this Tracer once again with the McCree.
Already some nice shots coming through, but at that distance, not going to be the most impactful damage.
Okay, he's caught
another one. That's going to be the stick coming down, and Jackson's going to be eliminated. No more res available here from Denmark, so just have to wait for the Cowboy to respawn back in. Cowboy's poking around into the back, has that primal rage ready to go, and he is not afraid to pop it out. Pops it in as he looks for Dang, and a couple more swipes to go ahead and take him down. Several heavy losses coming for Denmark as more members are currently dead. Fischer just now respawning. Kelly's going to be dying as well. First tick comes down Spain. Can they get more?
It looks like it. This is terrifying for Denmark. You do not want to allow them this great time bang.
Two before the tag in, and Nerf just gets melted like a hot knife through butter. Just chopped right through him. Fischer going to be dead as well. Danny pushes forward to the mech. Is already gone. Another pulse, another stick, another death for the Zenyatta. As Spain looks to take what was a smaller time bank and roll it into a 4-point gap here on Volskaya Industries. They will be able to have it with time in the bank. Absolutely stellar performance.
I mean, really, really well done. And they were able to do it by gatekeeping the supports out. It was a great Winston Primal there, coming out in that early fight, knocking Ding out of spawn there with the Zenyatta. He couldn't get out. No one could come in for the supports for the heals, but they needed someone to tag onto the point. So Networks committing that early. It's one of those very rare primals where you look at it and you go, well, this was not used to survive, but this was so correct. This was such a good usage of the ultimate there, and it was well timed. And Spain seems to be on fire in comms here as well, as you guys can see. After the huge momentum shift of taking a tie on Numbani, then coming through here with a weaker time bank and crushing Denmark's defenses, which, by the way, ended up being great the first time around, making those small adaptations. I think for the first time in this series, Denmark is now probably a little bit concerned about their future here.
I would agree. I mean, you know, if Spain can go ahead and lock this up, just going to be that best of one to determine it on Escort. To take the series here and try to get that win under your belt. So have the double cap to Denmark. 50 seconds is the time to beat.
And another adaptation here for Spain. Running Harry on the Ana this time, doing Doc on the Lucio. So no Zenyatta, just trying to use those sleep darts and bio grenades to prevent the dive from getting them on the high ground. Shax is going to run Widow to start things off. We'll see how long that lasts. May just go over to the far once again, but they don't have a lot of time to mess around with here anymore.
Double sniper on this attack. 4 minutes still going to be a strong time bank, but not going to get that bump in the cap. It's only going to be that plus 30 seconds compared to the plus 4 minutes. Not playing forward, gets shredded down. A bit of a back and forth here. Two members dead on either side. Mask falling a little bit low, but Line Pro is just swinging to win. Takes down both supports. Absolutely stellar from him.
You know, we've talked about a few times, should Line Pro be running with this composition against that composition, the Brigida, and sometimes we've had questions about that, but we have never had questions about his mechanical ability on the hero. He has certainly come up big every time he's given opportunities to. Shax will not swap too far, but in fact will go to Doomfist with the Sombra swap. So Denmark looking for some big combos here potentially, but they've got to make this one work. They can't switch compositions another time and hope to match the time bank of Spain.
Scouting out, trying to find the positioning here. Of the members of Spain, as soon as he goes around
Great sleep by Harry.
They lock him down, and everybody has come to participate in the kill. Line Pro leads the charge with the shield bastion to guarantee no translocation out. And now Shaq is all on his lonesome in the garage. He'll get taken down. Not before Bromance will get knocked out of that mech, but I'm not so certain if it matters.
This is really great for Spain. They have really turned this series around. That's going to be a stagger kill. Dodges the sleep.
Oh man, he's just bobbing and weaving, just dodging out on those shots.
Okay, Denmark had total control over this series, and suddenly Spain has hit their stride. Hermas gets the remech here, and let's see what they can make happen. They have the Nano to get nerfed into a primal position, but I mean, that's all they've really got here, and it has to be this push right now. There's no time for eco pushes anymore. They might be looking at a full hold if this doesn't work out. Line Pro trying to keep his position hidden.
Fresh here, has that pulse bomb ready to go. Nearly burns down Fisher. Well, Felix is dying off screen. Danny and the rest of Denmark going to be hiding back with the safety, trying to regroup. Pulse to come out. Finds a stick there, and Jax will go down. Very far forward play here from Network's going to pump the Primal Rage, goes to the back, manages to find the Lucio. For a little bit more here, Sleep will connect onto him, but I think that he's going to have no trouble staying alive. But we'll just go ahead and burn through the rest of that Primal Rage. But now Denmark on themselves the minute and a half, suffering heavy staggers.
This is a spawn cap. This is a spawn cap, basically. Spain has total control. And Denmark has finally the Meteor Strike, but they don't have the EMP yet because Fisher was first slapped and then denied positioning the second time, so he's just had such a tough time building up that ultimate. Nano didn't work out for Denmark, so they don't have that to buy further time with this Primal. It's got to be now, it's do or die. This is the push.
Meteor Strike set and ready to go. Seismic Slam coming through, gets the punch in, going to break the mech. Meteor Strike going to get popped out. Honest, he's Harry Hook, drops down straight on top of him, will be able to get the kill. Line Pro is also going to be eliminated. That's a huge opening here for Denmark to try to get this camp onto A, but even then, they still have to get B. And it's going to be enough time you would expect for them to reset. Networks going to get taken down. Shax finally having a pop-off performance here with the new fist. Uppercut in, takes out the Lucio. Cap's getting ready to come through.
Okay, so it's going to be a very, very long journey for Denmark, but they did it ult efficiently. The EMP needs to hit Doc. So Doc versus Fisher is what this next push is going to be about completely. If he can make sure he gets his sound barrier off, Spain feels great about the chances of going to that final map, the 1-1 score.
Pulse coming down. They're not going to be finding the safest time around. Jax plays forward. Fisher goes low. Fights his way back. Recall not going to be up for a considerable amount of time.
They spotted Doc. Looking for it
live. Fisher pushes forward, drops it down. He arrives here into the center of the point, but it's still going to be the sound barrier coming out. Doc did not get caught. Back elf coming through, almost gets the out, but he actually makes it back onto the platform. So the truck now going to be coming down from both sides. Then comes his, finds a kill onto the Baby Diva. It's going to be Bromance finding absolutely nothing here with his own. Denmark, however, lose two members. Nerf is going to be taken out of the fight. The sound barrier is a bit too late from Kellix and trying to keep him in. Nearly builds up another pulse now, has it, throws it down, finds a stick, it's a double kill! He says, get the heck out of here, Denmark! Shuts them down and looks to get the win here on Volskaya Industries. We're entering into OT. Denmark, can they grind away at it? It seems so very unlikely, and it looks like it's just not going to happen. They push forward, they have nerfed over onto the Hammond here, but he is all on his lonesome. He will go down. And that should just about be it. They try to zip their way in, they boop him back, they annihilate it away, and Spain ties it up.
Spain has taken all the wind out of Denmark's sails. And the thing is, they've changed the way they are playing the heroes they're running. They're adapting to what Denmark is putting forth on the defense, on the attack. They've positioned really well. Doc had that sound barrier perfectly timed. He was behind the wall. There was no way the EMP could prevent him from putting that out there. And that was the biggest, scariest part of that defense. And it's just... it's crazy to me that Spain is running the same comp no matter what map it is, whether they're on attack or they're on defense, but they're just so good at these heroes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked to them before the matches, you know, occurred. We had some interviews with them 2 days ago, as we were talking about the Australia series previously, and Spain was like, we don't have a lot of strats, but we're really good at what we like to do, right?
Yeah.
And
we have these few things, and we are damn good at them.
And I mean, you could see that in this play here, and it's actually crazy, and it feels like some mistakes are starting to show up for Denmark now because I think they're getting a little bit nervous. I mean, they had full control until Nimbani, they had control of Numbani, and then suddenly everything is changing.
And then a 3:36 time bank just goes out the window, and Spain is just leading the charge now. They get the tie up here, and it's all going to be settled in this final map on Escort. Whoever wins this, it's just a best of one for the victory now. And I mean, I'm not sure who's going to be able to take it, but Spain's looking pretty darn good right now.
Yeah.
You know?
It's going to be Escort, of course, for the final map, and it's going to be, of course, Denmark's choice. But
that's true.
I think you want to avoid maps where the Brigitte is going to be very good, because Lion Pro's got a phenomenal Brigitte. It's been playing almost Brigitte exclusively throughout not only this series, but the previous one as well against Australia. So maybe a map like Dorado, and then you kind of try to run that double sniper or just at least the Widow for Shax. Also a good Pharah map. Shax's been running a lot of Pharah. Use the fact that you know what Spain is probably going to do to your advantage, I think is what Denmark should do with this map selection here.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's go ahead and figure out what it's going to be. Last map here of this series, I think we knew this was going to be a messy one. And oh boy,
Gibraltar.
It's going to be Gibraltar.
So very similar situation for especially Point C. You know, it's not one of Brigitte's stronger maps. It's a great map for Hanzo. As we saw, you know, how Fischer played defense of Volskaya A. Very likely we'll see the same thing of Gibraltar A as well. And, you know, there are moments where you could utilize Brigitte defensively to run something similar, but I don't know if Spain really wants to do that. I think they just want to keeping Poppy on the Tracer.
Yeah, just want to keep doing the same thing. It's been working out for them for these last two maps, but it all comes down to Gibraltar now, ladies and gentlemen. Winner of this takes the series, and man, this has been an entertaining one.
It certainly has.
An absolute back and forth battle, but Spain, with the wind in their sails, might just be able to put this one over the finish line. And we're going to find out as we get ready to go ahead and load in for Escort.
Yep, this is their momentum advantage, but I feel the map is definitely a Denmark map based on the styles we've seen today.
And because they chose it.
Well, sure, they have chosen it, yes. And it's an intelligent map pick because on defense, you can run very easily the Hanzo on that high ground of A. You have Ding, who's hit more sleep darts than anybody today so far against Winston's. Just so many ways this can go well for Denmark. Then, that's not even to talk about when we get to the end, Point C, where if you give Fischer the opportunity on Widow or Shax, depending on what comp they're running at that point, to control that high ground, it can get really tough. And Spain ran this counter dive comp on Anubis. They ran it on Volskaya just now. They ran it on Numbani. And once again, we'll be seeing it on Gibraltar. So just sticking with what they're comfortable with. And I can't say anything about its predictability, or maybe it might be weak if they do that in the long run when they're just this good at it. And Denmark can't crack them anymore.
Yeah. Well, here we go. On the attack, Denmark pushing forward. Shax here with the Widowmaker here for now. Fischer will be on the Brigitte to kick things off. Line Pro, we already, there was really no question. Even with it being Gibraltar, we knew that he was going to be running this. It didn't really matter which map it was. Pop up to the top for a shot, but they are just denying sightlines away from him.
Yeah, and the cart's rolling. Eventually, Spain will have to make a move here with the Brigitte. No line of sight for Shax, but he's totally okay with it. They're not feeding over any ult charge to Spain either at the moment. So it's very neutral, with the exception of the cart moving. So obviously that's a win for the attackers.
Looking for it. Finds the hit there on the networks. Finally starts tagging them up, and we're going to have some fighting happening now. At long last, as the team clash here on the high ground. Networks going dangerously low, will get popped back up. Falling a bit further behind in that primal range charge compared to Nerf, from 53 to 31%. Wrap around through the side room, looking for the shot. Takes Harry Hook down. Shax gets the double tap.
Completely protected by the Winston barrier as well. There was no fear for Shax in that moment to commit to that. The double tap there. And Lion Pro's scouted. They know where he is. He's got to be careful. He might not be able to get out of here.
Arching to the back. Tomas trying to disrupt them. Nearly has that self-destruct ready to go. Have it online very shortly here. Doc takes that shot to the head. Pressure going to be taken down. Still zapping away, and Networks is going to be going down. Ran over by Danny.
Just feels like
still moves forward Denmark.
Yeah, they have full control over this. I mean, they knew where everyone was. They had full vision with the Infrasight, and they just collapsed on the members that were stuck in the front, that were staggered. Vermont is going to try to buy time.
Yeah, they're going for this. Struck comes down from us. Can't they get back into the back? It's going to be an answering one here from Danny just to try to go ahead and seal the deal on this push. Gonna be a primal rage pop by Network, so Spain is still trying to fight this one out. Nerf goes for it, tries to get rid of Harry Hook, but he's gonna be able to do so. Now the Transcendence is gonna be coming down. Still gonna be kills found for Denmark. 2 members currently dead, now 3. As Shax gets a double, eliminating the remaining supports. Can't quite find Harry Hook to shoot, but Fisher is there. Will pick up the kill onto the Zenyatta. They look for Volmas. They drain a little bit of time off the clock, but it's still over 4 minutes here for Denmark as they go into the hangar phase.
And I think Lion Pro has to be careful about trying to watch corners here. That's, I think, the first time a sniper's killed Doc today. He's been somehow able to avoid those. But he's got to be careful with Hylia Networks leading the front around corners, because when the rest of the squad isn't there to support them, they keep getting picked. And Denmark is just able to get free push from that, as well as get Shax into free line of sight. As Donnie is just on push duty, Shax's going to look for the flanking angle.
Drops down, keeping himself alive as best as possible. Poppy hovering around his right flank, but he's not even paying attention to that at all. Network's going to get taken down. Pushing forward, nearly has that pulse bomb ready to go. You can see Spain trying to play around this corner, trying to get some control of the cart. They get stunned up, not going to be going down. Lion Pro finding the kill onto Fisher, and now Nerf will go down as well. And Mark losing some ground, losing some of that momentum on the push. Yeah,
they're starting to show some respect to Popey, you know, and this case, they'd, I guess, overextended a little bit further, but they put Fisher on the Brigida, so he's shutting down a lot of what Popey is able to do, but not protected now is Ding.
Oh, goes right past him, just over the shoulder. Not going to be able to get that connection.
So close.
Going to get the kill. Very, very close. It would have been a nice takeaway here, because now the Transcendence is going to be online. Struck out from Danny, takes it out to Romas. That's going to be so many kills coming through. 3, 4 dead on the side of Spain. The cart keeps moving forward into B.
Shax is just such an incredible player, man. He has a he has such a large hero pool, and when he's given opportunities to use his Widow, for example, I mean, as you can see, he pops off. Now he has, this is the part I was most concerned about for Spain, because they're not running Widow, right? And look at what Shax is able to do. Now they can't even get a spawn. It's 1v6 right now. Come at me, is what Shax is saying. He has full vision. He's afraid of nothing. And he has full line of sight. He won't be able to stay here forever. He'll have to back up to this location, but they're pushing the cart for free. Danny is just on that right now.
Yeah, just moving up to the final corner. Very swiftly with no contention whatsoever from the side to Spain. Precious gone ahead and swapped over onto that Sombra. We'll see if he can be impactful. He's not going to be tossed down. Not going to find anything. Last can make it back into the mech, but Lion Pro will be taken down by Nerf. Has that primal rage available. Obviously falls down to about 100 HP. Looking for the supports into the back line. A couple of hits in. You can't really get a corner on somebody to really just burst them down.
They just can't get out of the spawn here, man. This is really rough.
That's the other problem. He's not getting kills, but they're not contesting. They're not playing the game right now. They're just sitting in the spawn room. Lion Pro has to get nanoed up. Trying to build up for that rally and also just keep alive. They'll be able to get the hits there onto Fisher. Pop out from the neck for Danny. They will take him down. Spain might be able to hold on. Less than a meter remaining for Denmark. They finally get some control back.
And that was absolutely the correct target to Nano there. Zenyatta is a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah. But that was the correct target, because Networks already had Primal available, and that was just the easy way to contest. That Nano Boost saved Spain from a 3+ minute time bank. It's not over yet. The defense will continue. Popey is finding opportunities here is the idea. Staying away from Fisher if possible.
Yep, trying to get some shots in. Now has that pulse ready to go. They're dangerously low. He tries to go forward, but Ding will be able to take him down. The boss is out of the mech as well.
Fisher's backdooring.
Gets that remech coming through, and they are just pushing it forward yet again. Denmark with the advantage. Moving up, looking for the finish. Nearly have a rally online. Fisher gonna have it now. Pops it instantly. Absolute frame that it comes up. Double struck again, Danny. Then it's the find Doc. Ding gets line throw. Huge pickoffs coming through. Romas is gonna get traded out of the mech again. Denmark looking for the finish with just shy of 2 minutes left on the time bank.
Yep, just totally controlling it, knowing to get out of the point. That's the kill on the Networks, and that should be completion here.
One after the other.
And a real massacre, to be honest, there at C, where the A to B was a lot more competitive for Spain because they were able to play around that Brigida while they're able to play around their comforts. But when we spoke well of Shax, right, that led them around that corner to head to C, and then he got up onto the high ground. No one could come out of spawn because he had such good coverage of that zone. And it's actually kind of amazing how well Spain was able to delay there, all things considered, because they were never able to deal with the Widow whatsoever. So now that we saw a nice clean push from Denmark, they've got 152 in the bank with completion. Cards are stacked against Spain. Spain just defies expectations and wins this, right?
I mean, you know, it's looking very similar to the end of Nimbani.
It just seems like
without a capture point at the beginning of the map, that's all.
Yeah, it just seems like that's the storyline here, right? But they have to do it now. This is the one they need to win. Take this series away. And it's just incredible that minus Harry Hook swapping between the Zenyatta and the Ana, they are just doing it with this one composition. And for the first time, Fischer was consistently on the Brigitte. For the first time, he said, you know what? Puppey is just doing too much on this Tracer. I'm going to play Brigitte, and we're going to have a more comfortable push through. I'm going to have more room. I'm going to give more room for Shaxx. And that's kind of what we saw there on the hangar part of this map. So, needs to be a good push. It needs to be very successful. Surprisingly, they're going to continue to run this Brigitte rather than the Hanzo that we saw on Volskaya. Very common in other regions to see that come through on this map, but they just want to keep it consistent. Kelix on the Mercy for res potential.
Well, right now just playing forward, just to try to spot out the composition. I think they can kind of guess what Spain is going to be running.
Yeah.
So go ahead and charge forward.
It's not a secret at this point.
There's not really going to be any surprises. They're mostly just trying to figure out what Harry's playing. You know, is he on the Lucio? Is he on the Zen? Is it the Ana?
Yeah. Well, Shaxx has good line of sight right now off the cart. Diving him is going to be a big challenge. He's just going to back up here to
go even deeper.
Exactly. Line Pro is soloing the cart because he knows that Widow cannot touch him while he has the shield. Between Widow shots, he'll regen that. That's why he lowered it there for just a moment. This is the test. Can Fischer keep him alive? Shaxx, that is. So the dive comes through.
Works there to go ahead and back him up. Shaxx going to get the shot there on the Line Pro. Finally finds it. Gets another one as Harry Hook's going to get taken down. Impresight's going to be available. He gets stuck! Shaxx! Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, he was able to avoid that dive. They came down, they collapsed onto the cart. Networks and Puppey, so he was able to just sit back and enjoy the show. The supports had no one to peel for them. They were exposed. And he has Impresight now. Bromas is going to have to stagger, reset, and it's just it's a big, big delay now.
Trying to be the miracle killer here. Shut down the repeat from Spain. Triple coming through very rapidly. See if he can have more shots like that.
He should Impresight when he gets back here to give additional information to his team. Might wait for a moment before doing so.
Done it yet. There
it is.
Pops it up now. As the cart starts moving forward, wants to see where the flanks are going to be coming from, if any at all.
He just knows exactly where Tracer is at all times with this Impresight up. Yep. So there's no secrets. He knows that she's just to the left and very far away, so he doesn't need to be concerned. As you can see, just tracking her now.
And no one wants to poke forward while that Impresight's up, so it's just time bought as long as that duration is still rolling. Poison Trap going to be destroyed.
Yep.
Got another one.
Exactly.
For an angle, just waiting for Line Pro to just drop that shield for just half a second. Gonna find it yet. Goes up in the top, trying to take down Shaxx. He's under some fire here. Effectively 2 kills going over the way of Spain as they get the pop on the mech there for Danny. Taking him low. Red's gonna come out. Kelix puts Fischer back into the fight. Fresh up on the high ground, will drop down. Down and dirty here with the rest of the squad. Has that pulse ready to go. Cart starting to roll through, rejoin in, or the contest from Merc with a Primal Rage pop. Trying to smack them all away. Networks, however, who stops Kelix, taking them out of the fight. 0.7 meters left to go here for Spain to get this point 8 cap.
Yep, and you know, they just need to clean it up and get that through. They still have a long way to go. They're gonna have to maintain 152 to stay even with Denmark. Shaxx getting picked again is huge because now he can't control the high ground anymore.
Oh, Kelix going low. They're pushing so deep in to try to get him. They will be able to finish him off, but now it's going to be Fischer going down as well. Very far forward push coming through from Spain. They have one person sitting on the cart at the moment, but they might have overstepped just a little bit. Pulse coming down defensively. Who's there from Danny to go ahead and shoot that one up.
Yep, really good start here for Spain towards B, through the hangar, free push. Shaxx not relevant here on the defense right now. He does have another opportunity to control this high ground now, as you can see above. They can drop down on this, as Fischer does. Rally's popped.
The shot, not going to find it. Has a Winston to deal with now as he kites his way out. Armor coming through, keeps him alive, and now it's going to be a sound barrier here as Train takes the fight to Denmark yet again. Coming out from Jing. Everybody topped up, so not going to be seeing any kills on either side yet. Coming available, Shaxx pops that Impresight, but he is just going to get burned down. push forward. Both Winstons holding on to those primal rage. Primal rage, the stun comes from Light Bro, denying it away from Nerf. No opportunity to use it. Double truck in, zones them back from us. Opens things up as they try to get the completion here onto B. Build up that time bank.
They're just delaying.
With the hopes alive.
They're delaying so much. Valkyrie even popped here as Fisher's nigh unkillable. Stuns, and we'll have that rally in just a second. He pops it.
Yeah.
They're contesting this. It's actually insane that they're able to turn this fight around. 2v6 essentially there with the Valkyrie and the rally. And Fisher is just popping off. He's got a double here. Well, not really a double, but the mech and the pilot, you know.
Yep.
But Spain now has to reset, and they had full control over Shax for so long, and now Shax has free reign again.
They also, I mean, he just used the ultimate, so it's not going to be the most consequential thing, but they left Promass up. They did not kill the Baby Diva.
Yes.
You can see he's very slowly building up. He's trying to spam away Defense Matrix to deny some of it.
Uh-oh.
And now he's going to die. So that is a lot of time bought here by Denmark with this defense.
This is huge for Denmark. It everything looked like it was, oh man.
There's going to be one. Can he get another one? Looking for Harry Hook.
You just can't give this guy line of sight, or it's going to be a bad time.
Armor comes down, gets a tag. That one connected on the networks. I've not been standing there.
And he was denied line of sight, but it was the miracle hold from Fisher there and Kellex that gave him back control of this point, and now Spain has to start over from ground zero. They have to start from the beginning again. Networks has Primal, so he's got a large distance he can push through to try to get up there and stop this reign of terror that Shax is tossing down from the shuttle above, from this hangar position. And it's just so difficult to get a Winston up there. Line Pro trying to get onto the point. 1 minute left. That's all they got.
Yeah, they have to do that. They have to have a massively strong push onto C, get that completion if they want to keep their hopes alive. See if they can get it. Maybe in OT and nothing else. Zach's going to get pocketed back up, not going to be dying. Comes out there on the bottom crush on the flank. Not going to be getting the hit, but Danny will be able to get the kill. Now the Tracer is going to be out of the mix. Fisher gets a ton of hits here, but he will not die. They keep him sustained. He's still swinging away. Taken down. Not going to be the exchange as Fisher hits him with a chip. And we're off that primal rage going forward, knocking him around, trying to get him away from the cart. 25 seconds remaining. Hasn't really found the kills yet.
Rallies up, and they're getting that armor.
Gets the hits there onto Calix, takes him down. Line Pro going to be traded out. Fisher going to be the only support available here for this defense, and now Nerf is going to be falling. Now Fisher is all on his lonesome again. Doesn't have the pocket coming through. Tries to throw down that poison bomb, but he is just going to get zapped to death. Network is just doing so much for his squad to try to get them over the line. Sound barrier for good measure to get the completion here onto B. The Valkyrie helping to delay the rejoin. The respawn from Nerf comes back in. Almost gets the primal rage, but going to be dying just a couple percent shy of that one. Kellex will also be traded out, and it's just going to be one after the other coming in from Denmark, trying to delay. They will be able to get this push to Spain.
And as long as Spain has a cart to push, as long as they have time in the bank, they have been able to pull off miracles tonight. So don't cut them down, even though they're 30 seconds behind and nowhere near C yet. There is a great shot for them to actually still take this map.
Well, they knew that one was coming. Pulse bomb not going to be finding the connection. Get the kill. Fresh has to go ahead and try to kite his way out to safety. Member after member of Denmark is hunting for his Tracer.
Okay, Bobby just looking for the backline here, looking for Ding specifically. Unable to get that kill. Playing with fire, in fact.
He's getting a lot of damage in onto him, but the shield's coming down. Kellex helping to pocket him back up. Kellex himself hovering at half HP, and Shax gonna get taken down. The stop radius comes through, and then we'll get the kill. Still very far forward, but Harry Hook pushes in, has that Transcendence up. Everybody sustained.
Denmark is playing so smart, they're just tagging the point repeatedly. They just want overtime, that's all they want. And Spain actually needs to realize this, otherwise they are not going to have a time bank here.
Kills. It's going to be Danny knocked out of the fact they have to get this cart moving. Line Pro. Minefield ready to go. Cutting his way back.
They got to be pushing this cart.
Left to go. Is he going to...
Looks like he's going just to swamp.
Okay.
Maybe. Or giving the illusion that he will, I guess, perhaps. They've got to get on this.
Yeah.
Rolling back. 10 seconds to go.
Ticking down here. Harry Hook gets tagged up. Pushing forward. Jarjan cuts through. Piled Nano into the back of that. Nano Nano comes down. Limeflow getting stunned up. The adaptive shield comes through. Trying to keep alive. Pulse bump from Poppy. Not going to be finding anything yet. Limeflow's going to be dropped in. It's going to be Networks going down. Harry Host. Shield fast and killed. Fisher finds Soup. Gets rid of the supports. There's no one here to keep Spain alive. Poppy's going to go down. It's just the Hammond. And Alonaf's dead as well. Limeflow, I don't think he can buy enough time by himself. Even with the adaptive shield offering up so much HP. He tries to swing in. It's not going to happen. Denmark get the defense, and they'll get the win.
Denmark takes the win. Just a smidge further. More consistent with this comp that they've been running throughout the series, putting Shax in high places, and he was just able to do too much. With a time bank like that, Spain felt they had to do something desperate, and desperation meant that they were going to regroup for one big nano pile driver into minefield. But when they did that, when Lion Pro was up there, there was no more Brigitte. We had made that swap over to the Wrecking Ball, and that meant that they were cut into 2 squads, and Denmark capitalized on that moment, got those picks. So despite the flashy nano into the sky, it was not good enough to get that completion there. And Spain 2 for 3 on the Miracles there with Time Bank stacked against them, but they weren't able to do it in that 4th and final map. Disappointed faces here, but let's be real. I mean, showed us a great series.
They absolutely did. This series was wildly entertaining. One of the best ones that we've had so far here today. And it's just an unfortunate start for Spain. You know, they're not going to be kicking things off with a victory here on the day. Denmark, you know, good look for them. But, man, what a series.
I mean, just great play all around from the supports to the tanks from Denmark. That was really, really good Overwatch right now. We just watched.
And shown improvement from Spain as well. So,
yeah.
You know, looking better in this than their first series of the day. So we'll see how they're going to evolve as we move deeper and deeper into the weekend here. But guys, let's go ahead and throw over to the floor for an interview with Fisher.
We are back here and joined by Fisher from Team Denmark. First of all, of course, congratulations. The second win of the day for you and your team. So, how do you feel? First day is over. It was a big success for your team. Are you very satisfied with the performance?
I'd say we're pretty satisfied. There was a lot of pre-nervous jitter in the first couple of games. I think Spain played really aggressive and we were really surprised, so that's why we struggled a little bit. But once we got our shit together, and we just played better at the end.
All right. Now, looking at Spain and the comp they were running, did that catch you off guard a little bit?
A little bit, yeah, I'd say. We were pretty surprised, and we were talking about it for a while, what we were going to play against it. We ended up deciding to just play more Brig against it into it and just try to play more aggressive. And I think Jib is one of our stronger maps, so I think we played pretty well against it.
Yeah, you kind of rained off on Poppy's parade once you switched to Brig. That seemed to work out just fine for you and your team. Now, looking ahead at all the other matches still to come, how confident are you about the rest of the opponents?
I'd say we're pretty confident. We're a little scared of China because they look really strong against Sweden. They were really strong last year too. And I'm not surprised if they're going to roll this group as well. So I'm scared of China, but I feel confident.
Good, that's what I like to hear. Thank you so much for joining me, Fisher. Once again, congrats to you and the team. What a successful first day here at the group stage. We're now heading over to our caster to break down the match we just saw.
Thank you very much. So, man, you know, good to hear from Fisher. Got to be feeling pretty relieved after that victory, but like you said, still concerned about what's to come. Still have China waiting around the corner, who looked very, very strong in their first match of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy group for anybody. It's such a competitive group across the board. I mean, even China's win over Sweden was not a very dominant victory, right? So it's just, you know, we don't know what's going to finish until we get to the end of day 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air. I mean, we can still have potential for a lot of upsets. Maybe Denmark can come back in after some of these scrappier ones and play cleanly against the expected, you know, stronger teams here that we've had. Maybe Spain can pull off some of those upsets as well. But I don't know. It's still just a lot of craziness going on here in this group. But let's go ahead and see what you guys had to say about that map.
It's going to be the fan pulse. Yep.
The fan pulse.
Yep.
Brought to you by T-Mobile.
Yes, that's right.
I'm not as good as Golden Boy about, you know.
Well, nobody is. Nobody's, but from Based to Nami, Denmark should have a lot of OWL teams' eyes on them after the way they played tonight. And I think there was certainly, there's a lot of good arguments for some of these players stepping into the big leagues because...
Especially, you know, there's a lot of standout performances here. So,
I mean, the thing is, you can't even just say, well, this player was the best player on the roster today, because everything that Fisher did was somewhat empowered by what Ding did, which was allowed by what Shax was able to do because he was in a different spot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So everyone really fit in like cogs in a watch or something like that. I don't know, man. It was more complex than I could describe very quickly here. But you guys saw it. Poppy Fresh surely has to be picked up by an OWL team. The guy is insane on Tracer for Spain. Really impressive target priority and great pulse bomb kills. Denmark on the rope. Certainly true. And eventually he did force Fisher to play that Brigitte.
Yeah. And I mean, his Tracer was absolutely stellar. I hope that we can see a little bit more from him as we go deeper into this and show us that he can really perform on more picks than that. But let's go ahead and relive some of that series, guys, because I mean, the 2-1 scoreline, you might think that we're still getting ready to go, but it's done. We had that tiebreaker, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from that series.
Yep, so we started things off on Ilios, which is also a very competitive map, and we're going to take a look at some of Shax here. Pulse stuck onto networks there, denying him from building any further Primal. Ding with some great plays throughout the entire series, not just on the Zenyatta here on Ilios, but his sleep darts to shut down what Networks was trying to do. Nerf playing against this Ryan Zarya. Again, you don't commonly see Winston versus Ryan Zarya when that comp was becoming popular, so kind of tough to get used to that one, but he shut them down.
Yeah, it was just overall stellar Winston play on both sides. Networks certainly had his moments. Nerfed at the beginning of the series before Spain kind of found their momentum. Was just absolutely crushing them left and right. But, I mean, again, it's so hard to say, you know, this player is, you know, the reason why they won. This is where, you know, Networks picks up the triple kill, really helps put them over the finish line, and then transition that into that tie on Nambani.
Yeah. So it's just Harry shutting down the Tracer dive there. Really well done. Shax, give this guy line of sight, and you're not going to enjoy what happens next.
Yeah.
Unless you're just the spectator watching at home, of course.
That's true. We enjoy it.
Yes.
You guys hopefully. But, you know, as far as teams win, I don't think that they're too big of a fan for that one. Poppy Fresh had his moments as well, coming up with that triple kills. The pulse bomb is really coming out. He showed a really good accuracy earlier on in the series. As we see that point-blank shot.
He just had so many of these infrasights that he always knew where Poppy was going to be, unfortunately.
I feel bad. I feel bad moment there.
It's the Shax show here on Gibraltar, which is again why, you know, you and I were a little bit surprised by this map pick for Spain, because it just allows them to play to their strengths, control line of sight, as we see here. And I mean, that's basically the long and short of how this series ended at the end of the day, as we see Fisher is able to split this team in two in the final fight where they try to go for that nano-boosted pile driver there with the minefield. But Fisher was able to identify that while Line Pro made that swap, he couldn't stun him, so he was up in the air and the rest of the backline was exposed.
Yeah, well, rough stuff there from Spain. They almost were able to pull off the full miracle, like you said, 2 out of 3, I think is the way that you phrased it. It was a very strong performance from them, but unfortunately not enough to get that win on the board. So will be a rough start here for day 1, but there's still plenty more Overwatch that has to be played this weekend. But guys, we have one more match ready to come up, and this should be a very interesting one. Australia going to be going up against Thailand. We'll see if Australia can pick up another win, or if Thailand will be able to get a victory in front of the home crowd. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a bit.
To you by Omened by HP, the official PC of the Overwatch World Cup, and by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.